Hello Year 2 and welcome back to your online home learning. I'm here to join you this afternoon for some computing learning, so I'll share my screen and we'll get going. Okay, so here we are. Now hopefully you remember from Mr. Arnold's assembly on Monday that he was telling you all about Safer Internet Day, which was yesterday, Tuesday the 9th of February. So I'm going to be going through some learning with you today related to Safer Internet Day, and we're going to have a little activity to complete based on this. Okay, so the theme of Safer Internet Day this year is An Internet We Trust, exploring reliability in the online world. So making sure it's really important we know how to stay safe on the internet. Okay, so first of all, I'd like you to think about what you know already about staying safe on the internet. Just pause the video here and just take a little bit of time to reflect on what you know already about staying safe on the internet. Don't worry if you're not quite sure of anything yet, because we'll be going through some ideas throughout this lesson. Okay, so let's move on then. So on the screen here, I have some words, okay? And in a moment, we're going to be sorting these words into two groups. Just have a little look at these words, and I'm just going to read them out for you so that you can see, so you can think about if there's any words that you're not quite sure the meaning of, maybe you know what each of them mean, okay? So we have true, wrong, fiction, incorrect, genuine, correct, untrustworthy, untrue, unreal, trustworthy, false, real, pretend, fake, right, and fact. Okay, so I'd like you to have a go at sorting these words into words that mean the same as true and words that mean the same as false. Okay, so here we are. The words that mean the same as true. We have correct, genuine, real, trustworthy, fact, and right. And words that mean the same as false are fiction, wrong, pretend, fake, incorrect, untrue, unreal, and untrustworthy. Okay. So I wonder if you can think of any examples of things that you may have seen online that you do and do not trust. So try and think of some things you see online that you do trust, that you know and you trust are okay. And maybe some things you might have seen online before that you do not trust and you may have had to speak to an adult about. Have a go at writing a little list, some things that you do trust you see online and maybe some things that you don't trust so much. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you a few examples that I have written down. Maybe some of these you might have included as well. Okay, so you may have seen adverts, some of them you may trust, some of them you may not trust. You may have seen any competitions pop up, any trade-in games, any maybe fake news stories that aren't true, verified accounts, so accounts that are, you know, is a real account of something, maybe a friend that you have that has a game account with you, official game currency, so sometimes games you may have money and that might be official game currency, and online users you know in person. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is try and think of one of these things that you do not trust online. So this might be a fake competition post, or this might be a fake news story, or this might be you've won a prize for £1 million. Okay, so I just want you to draw something that you do not trust online. Just draw a little example on your paper now. Once you've done that, I'd like you to think about what would you do if you were not sure whether to trust something online. Okay, what would you do if something came up on your computer, if you were online and you weren't sure whether to trust it? What would you do? Okay. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write a little piece of advice underneath your drawing of what you would do if something like this came up on your screen. An example might be, before you enter an online competition, ask an adult you trust for help. Or it might be, if you see a fake news story on the screen, speak to an adult you trust to help you. Okay, or it may be, don't close the advert in case it is a virus. Okay, so just one sentence to give a little bit of advice for what to do if something came up that you did not trust. Okay, so we've got a story now that I'm going to go through with you. I'm going to read with you. And this is a story about DigiDuck. And DigiDuck has become a detective. And he's going to share his story with us. So as you're listening to the story, I'd like you to think about, what did Wise Owl tell DigiDuck to do when he was feeling unsure about something online? So this may give you a few ideas if you're still feeling a little bit stuck, of maybe what you would do if you saw something online that you didn't trust, maybe what you could do. Okay, so I'm just going to find this so that we can have a look together. Okay, so here we are. Hopefully you can see the story, Detective DigiDuck. Okay, just before we have a look at this picture, just before we have a read of the story, I'd like you to have a look at this front cover and make a prediction of what you think DigiDuck might be doing in this story. Maybe what do you think is going to happen in this story? Okay, hopefully you've had some time to make a prediction now. So I want you to sit back, relax, and listen to the story. School had nearly finished for the year, and DigiDuck had one last project. His teacher, Mrs. Goose, had asked the class to find out about animals that live in the forest. DigiDuck knew his parents had friends in the forest, but he'd never been. Forests were a mystery. He needed to rush through. Crazy Cat and Footy Fox were on his family farmyard games team, and they were so close to winning. If he could do this quickly, they could still play before bedtime. He searched online for forest animals. There were so many websites to choose from, but one picture caught his attention straight away. Perfect, he said happily. DigiDuck discovered that a deer's antlers are the fastest growing body part of any animal in the world, and once they start growing, they didn't stop. Doves travel for thousands of miles when they migrate and are happiest in coldest weather. And all dragons can fly and breathe fire. They live in the deepest, darkest forests. That's incredible, said DigiDuck. He looked at the clock. Crazy Cat would still be online. Game time. Later that week, when Mrs. Goose returned his work, he was surprised. Oh no, he exclaimed. I wonder where I went wrong. He arrived home feeling glum, but soon cheered up when he saw that Wise Owl was visiting. He was a good friend and had helped DigiDuck before. I don't understand, said DigiDuck, showing them his work. The website I chose had lots of information and fantastic pictures. I thought they were all facts. How can I tell the difference? Something is only a fact if you can prove or show that it is true, explained Wise Owl, like the fact that all birds have beaks. We can see that, we know that it is true. So if I said that all birds have 8 legs, that is not a fact. I know it's untrue because I am one, replied DigiDuck. Precisely, said Wise Owl. Also, things that you read or see online might just be ideas that people have. I could say on the internet that Brave Bat is the best superhero, but you might think that Daring Duck is better. We can't say who's right or wrong because there are opinions or feelings that we have. To check if something is a fact, you have to be a detective, DigiDuck, and look for information or clues in other places too. DigiDuck leaped up enthusiastically. Detective DigiDuck, on the case! He quickly stopped in his tracks. Hang on, where else are we going to look for information? I'm going to teach you 3 things that you can do to help decide if what you found on the internet is a fact or not. We'll use a different one for each forest animal, explained Wise Owl. We'll video call one of the animals, we'll chat with your parents, and we'll look on another website too. This is going to be amazing, yelled DigiDuck. Please can we call the dragon first, please? We'll save the dragon for later, but we'll call my friend Big Buck first. No one knows more about being a deer than a deer himself. The call connected and a magnificent stag appeared on the screen. His antlers were quite unexpected though. Hi, waved DigiDuck. The internet says that your antlers grow really fast and never stop. But now, I'm not so sure. Our antlers grow remarkably fast, said Big Buck proudly. That part is true. But we shed them in the spring and they grow again in the summer. Wait, they come off, quacked DigiDuck, turning a little pale. Okay, chuckled Big Buck. They're meant to, and it doesn't hurt a bit. They returned to the project over dinner. Mummy Duck, can you tell us anything about doves? Asked Wise Owl. I know that doves are truly extraordinary flyers. It won't be long before our friends think about heading off again. Where to? Asked DigiDuck. The internet said they like cold places. Not all doves are the same, but some fly an exceptionally long way to get to warmer places, and this migration lasts many months. Oh, the stories they tell, replied Mummy Duck wistfully. Right, Detective, what have you learned so far? Asked Wise Owl. DigiDuck studied his note. To check the information you find online, you need to talk about it with an adult. You might even know an expert who can help you too. Very good, replied Wise Owl. That just leaves the dragon. Oh, I can't wait, said DigiDuck, hopping excitedly. Before we start, it's useful to ask yourself some questions about what you've discovered online. There might be things that you already know that can help. A good detective thinks really carefully about the clues to decide what the facts are. What do you know about dragons so far? Asked Wise Owl. The website said they can fly and breathe fire, replied DigiDuck. Have you, or anyone you know, ever seen a dragon? Wise Owl asked kindly. I've seen a dragonfly before, but not a flying dragon. I don't think anyone I know has seen one of those. Have you seen any other photographs, videos, or news reports about dragons in your books, on TV, or anywhere online? I watched a video about Komodo dragons. They're actually the biggest lizards in the world. There are fire-breathing dragons in my bedtime stories, but lots of made-up things happen there too. DigiDuck sat quietly, considering the clues in his mind. After a while, he said with a little sigh, I think dragons might not be real. I'm afraid they aren't, comforted Wise Owl. The information you found about dragons was untrue. They only live in made-up stories. But what terrific stories they are! Wise Owl and DigiDuck searched online for a different animal to complete his project. The family farmyard had lots of interesting forest facts, and DigiDuck also checked a website that Mrs. Goose had shown them. On the last day of term, children were bursting with excitement. As a special treat, Mrs. Goose had arranged a picnic lunch at the forest school with all of the other forest animals. Okay, so that's the end of the story. So just a few questions to think about at the end of that story. So question 1, what 3 things did Wise Owl teach DigiDuck to do to check what he had found out? Okay, so just have a think about those 3 things that Wise Owl taught DigiDuck to do. Okay, so the 3 things were asking an expert who may know more about it, asking an adult, and checking other sources. So checking other websites, maybe also checking some non-fiction books as well. Question 2, decide if each of these sentences is a fact, an opinion, or something untrue. So a duck has feathers, a duck can spin a web, a duck is beautiful. Okay, so which one of those is a fact, which one is an opinion, and which one is untrue? Okay, so the first one is a fact, the next one is untrue, and the final one is an opinion. Not everyone may think that a duck is beautiful. Maybe you can think of some of your own examples to challenge yourself there. Maybe you could think of a fact, an opinion, and something untrue. Question 3, name 5 adults that you know and trust that could help you with any problems you come across online. Okay, you may think of people in your family, you may think of adults that are in school that you know and you trust. Okay, question 4. If anything online confused, worried, or upset you, how would you ask for help? What could you say? Okay, so you may want to have a little think about what you may say to that adult you trust about what you were worried about. And then finally, question 5, can you use the internet to find out something new about a forest animal? Remember to use those 3 tips. So you may want to ask an expert that knows lots about forest animals. You may want to ask an adult in your family. You may want to have a look at some other sources. So you may want to look on a website and look maybe in a non-fiction book you have at home. Okay, so let me just go back to share my screen again and I'll go through with you the activity for today. Okay, so your task for today is you're going to create a top tips for searching online poster using Wise Owl's advice from the story. Okay, so use those 3 tips that Wise Owl gave. You may want to give an example as well, maybe draw an example at the bottom of DigiDuck having a little look, but finding some facts that weren't true. Maybe at the bottom of the poster you'd like to write a fact you have learned, a fact that is untrue, and an opinion about forest animals to give a little bit of a guide there as well. So just like you did, or just like I know you can do, I want you to create a really lovely colourful poster to share some top tips for searching online. Okay, please make sure you send us in a picture on Teams of these amazing posters because I know that Mr. Arnold would really, really love to see them, as well as Mr. Ladyman and myself. Once you've completed your poster, as an extra little challenge, it would be great to see you using these top tips to create your own song or poem. Okay, so you may want to do a little bit of a rap or a song, which I would love to see recorded as well if you have a go at the challenge. Okay, so that is the end of your computing learning for today. I hope you enjoyed listening to your DigiDuck story, and I hope you enjoyed completing your posters. Have a really wonderful rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.